Hey team, welcome back to episode 6. At the time this goes live, it will be Monday the 25th of March, 7 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is going to be the new time for weekly vlogs. So Monday nights they'll be going live, and you guys know you can tune in then and listen to me talk for 20 or 30 minutes. Thank you to everyone who's jumped on board this week or this month even. Last I checked there were 67 of you now, so that's quite a few. And I actually woke up this morning to 3 or 4 messages from you guys sharing your results with me, and a lot of you are seeing really positive results, which is great. This will be the second last video I make covering off in the guide in more detail. So it'll be this one next Mondays, and then we'll move on to more advanced topics. And I'll cover some of the questions you guys have been asking or some of the topics you guys have asked me to cover. So today we'll be going through sections 8 and 9 of the guide, engagement groups, calls to action, analytics, and automation. So we'll start with Instagram news, and Instagram have announced that Instagram TV videos are coming to your feed, your home feed. So as well as seeing users' photo and video posts in your home feed, you'll also see IGTV videos. I can't see this impacting on us too much. I think IGTV was Facebook's way of trying to compete with maybe YouTube, but IGTV I don't think has been very successful. I don't personally use it. I've got a couple of videos on there at people's requests. So people requested that I do like a small editing tutorial, and I chucked that on IGTV because it's a little bit better than pinning stories in my mind, but also very similar actually to sticky stories. So I'm not really sure what IGTV's purpose is, but I think they're trying to expand on that or to make it more usable by putting it in the home feed. This may increase its usability a little bit, IGTV that is, but I can't see this really taking off. And they could have simply improved the experience of normal feed videos. I feel like if they're going to put IGTV in your feed, why not just improve feed videos and enable like a timeline bar so that you can skip within the video and that kind of stuff. We also saw earlier this month that Instagram were experiencing issues processing uploads. Both myself and a number of you guys actually were having trouble uploading photos and videos to Instagram for a period of about 3 days. I got around that by re-rendering the video I was trying to post, but I don't think that was related to the issue. I think Instagram might have ironed that out themselves. As for questions, I've still got quite a long list of questions that you guys want answered. I'm saving a lot of them because they'll be answered in upcoming videos. So a lot of you are asking about sponsorships, how you reach out to brands, how you communicate with them. And I answer every one of you on the spot generally and say that, you need to approach them with a proposal, and you can't just send them a message and say, hey, what up, send me some parts. But A, I'm going to do a video dedicated to this, and B, it's not going to apply to every one of my patrons because I've got businesses on here as patrons that want to learn about the Instagram platform, and they're not necessarily going to be reaching out to people for sponsorships. So that is on my list of things to do, but it won't be one of the first videos I do. However, I will be covering how to contact brands, how to negotiate sponsorships, that kind of thing. However, that said, this week we are going to touch on a couple of issues that Anthony and Thorben have brought to me, and then next week we'll go back to the standard question and answer format that I usually do. So I've been helping Anthony with his post performance, and I've been looking at that as he continues to post, and we've been doing benchmarks and that kind of thing. He's a photographer who posts images in sets of 3s. So he'll conduct a photo shoot for a car, and then the next 3 images that he posts, the 3 consecutive posts after he does that shoot, will be the same car from the same scene, same kind of shoot, same feel. And what he found was that the first image of each set was performing really well, with up to 90% of its reach being people who didn't follow him, which is fantastic. However, subsequent posts after that, so the second and third image from the same set, wouldn't perform as well. And it was quite religious actually. The first post, he would see that 90% of it was engaged on or shown to people who weren't following him. The second was like 60, and then the third was 30 or 20 or something. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but every single set, he would see that reach decrease on consecutive images. We checked his hashtags, made sure they were applying and that he was cycling hashtags correctly. But no matter what he did, he found that the engagement would decrease significantly on each consecutive post within a set. So I looked into this for him and found that there was nothing amiss. His hashtags were fine. He was cycling them. He was applying in the hashtags. He wasn't shadow banned, anything like that. The only explanation that I could suggest to him was that his audience was simply less likely to engage on consecutive posts or images from the same set, especially when they looked the same. They had the same edit or style applied to them. The symptoms he was experiencing are similar to what I would expect from posting too frequently. Each subsequent post was receiving less engagement than the previous. Except that he was only posting once a day, and I thought this was probably an unlikely explanation. So what I recommended to him was that he mix up scenes and avoid posting consecutive images from the same subset. So that on Monday he might post a photo of photo shoot 1, and then on Tuesday he might post a photo from photo shoot 2, and then Wednesday photo shoot 3, and then on Thursday he could go back and post another image from photo shoot 1 because they hadn't seen that shoot for 3 days. This will keep his feed looking more diverse and hopefully prevent his audience feeling like they'd seen the same content or they were seeing the same images. And I think that was the issue, that people were feeling like they'd already seen that image or they'd seen that set, they'd seen that car. I also recommended that you might be able to post these in galleries or albums where you have multiple images in the same post, but I know this chews through a lot of content, so up to him what he does with that. However, this isn't really an Instagram problem. I couldn't find any issues with the platform or his processes, how he was using Instagram, and there was nothing he could really do to increase the performance of those images here. Technically, he's doing everything correct. However, this is an issue with his audience. It's more of like a psychological issue, I guess. And it goes back to what I touched on in the guide, that there's more to Instagram than understanding the technicalities behind post performance. Simply doing everything correctly from a technical perspective doesn't guarantee success on the platform. I'm having a few people message me with things like, hey, I'm hashtagging really well, I'm following everything that you've said in the guide, I'm checking that I'm eligible to rank in all the hashtags I'm using, and I'm still not seeing great post performance. And for the most part, this isn't really something I can help you with. If you're following all of the principles that I've laid out, and if you're doing everything correctly, and you're still not seeing great post performance, like I said in my last video, you can't make people engage. So if you're doing everything correctly, all you're doing is making your content eligible to achieve its maximum reach. But again, we're dealing with real people and you can't make them like or engage on your content. So if you are doing everything correctly and you're still not seeing great post performance, start looking at the quality of your images or whether they're diverse enough, and go back and have a look at what your audience have reacted well to in the past and see if you've changed something, or again, dealing with real people. So there's more you've got to think about here than just the technicalities. Really, I'm getting a lot of people saying, hey, I'm hashtagging really well, but sometimes my posts aren't performing as well as previous ones. And I've also touched on the fact that you can't expect every post to do better than the previous. You're not always going to be improving. Anyway, Anthony's going to experiment with mixing his posts up. I think he's already doing that. And I'll let you guys know how he went, hopefully next week, and see if we can bring that number up. So the second situation I've been helping with is Thorben, and his is a lot simpler, thankfully. His account is relatively small in size, and he was noticing that his ideal post time was changing within inbuilt Instagram analytics. So he was looking in the audience tab, and in the first week, he saw that his audience was active at 7 a.m, and then in the second week, it was 12 p.m, and in the third week, it's 4 or 5 p.m. or something. And I explained to him that this is subject to change as your audience grows. So if you start week 1 and you've got 100 followers and they're all from Brazil, and then you grow, say you double in size, and the new audience that you've picked up are from America, your post time is going to change. So that'll change significantly as you grow. The bigger you get, the less likely that is to change significantly. But when you're still small in size, picking up new audiences, that's going to change all the time. And I explained in the guide actually that at one point I specifically targeted Brazil to try and pick up some of the followers, some new followers there. And that turned into 18% of my current audience being Brazilian. They're now my largest audience, and that shifted my post time significantly. So now I post at 10 p.m. Australian Standard Time, which I think is when they wake up. Assuming Instagram's provided analytics are accurate, they should really be your Bible. Conduct your own experiments, of course, but remember that Instagram have access to a lot more information than we do. So if they're saying that your followers are online and active at 10 p.m, that's probably the time you should be posting. And that's what I said to Thorben, to do his own experiments as well, but that guide should really be your Bible, or those analytics should be your Bibles. So as they change, you may have to change the time at which you post, depending on when your users are active. Of course, conduct your own experiments. Okay, so that takes us to the next section of the video. Let's dig into section 8 of the guide, which is engagement groups and calls to action. And I said in the guide that there are legitimate and beneficial ways to boost your engagement. Although there's multiple methods you can use to boost your engagement groups are one of the most common. These groups involve sharing your content to a group as you post it, and all of the group members then engaging on your media as close to the post time as possible to help you trend within the algorithm. These groups are most commonly hosted within Instagram DM groups. However, there's a limit of 10 people within DM groups. So some people move them into external messaging applications like Telegram, WhatsApp, etc. However, we now suspect that Instagram is capable of recognizing engagement received from engagement groups and adjusting the weight accordingly. So Instagram sees the source of your traffic. When you share a post link, although you can actually change that link, but no one does. When you share that URL and someone clicks on it, Instagram receives information such as where that link has been clicked and how you've shared it to them. So if you go to your post and hit share, copy link, the link you actually get will have a question mark at the end, and then we'll have source equals, off the top of my head, I'm not sure what it is, but it's something like, source equals shared post or something like that. They also see that the person who's clicked on it has clicked on it in the Telegram application. And we think that they're associating that with DM groups. And when normally a comment may be worth a weight of 3, if it comes from that source, it might be worth a weight of 1. We're kind of guessing here, but engagement groups, the effectiveness of engagement groups has definitely declined over the last year or two. And I personally haven't used one for well over a year, probably close to 2 years. When I was first starting up, engagement groups were beneficial to me to receive those comments. And I also think that my audience, seeing people commenting on my media, were more likely to then go and comment themselves, as they weren't the first person to leave a comment. But current day, I don't use any. I often get asked whether I use engagement groups currently, and no, not for quite a while. Using calls to action is a simpler method of increasing engagement, and this involves asking your audience questions, creating polls, using controversial captions, trying to inspire them to engage on your media. I've recently shifted to showing appreciation for engagement and attempting to inspire my followers to engage rather than asking them to. And this is something that I've also covered in a previous video, so I'm not going to go too far into it, but I've found calls to action as a really effective way to increase my engagement. Just asking my audience questions or commenting on things that I think are a little bit controversial that might inspire them to comment. But this is going to be specific to your audience or your niche, so you've just got to be creative and think about what would urge you to comment on someone else's media. So on to section 9 of the guide, analytics and automation. Although I started out using third-party analytic tools, in May of 2016, Instagram announced the launch of its tools for business users. So that was the business profile and the analytics that came with it. I've only experimented briefly with Instagram ads, and I'm not going to go into them in depth in this video or in this guide, but a lot of people have been asking me about the effectiveness of promoting posts and running Instagram ads. So I'll do a video on them specifically after we've covered off the guide and the basic guide. However, analytics I've become quite experienced with and found that the built-in Instagram analytics are quite reliable and much easier to use than third-party solutions. They're also completely free and can be accessed just by switching to a business profile. You can always reverse to a personal profile if you find business is not for you. However, I've been on a business profile for quite a while, and I'd recommend it if you want access to analytics. I have encountered theories that business accounts receive less engagement or they're provided less reach than personal accounts, but I've not seen any evidence of this on my own experiments. And I've conducted multiple of these. And I've also said in previous videos that I think those averages reset when you swap between business and personal, and it's not an issue of either one receiving less engagement. I've also received definitive confirmation from Facebook that your chosen business account category has no impact on your performance algorithms and is purely a category for you to promote yourself as or to display yourself as. So when you select a business profile, you get to choose a category. Most people have cars. I've personally got public figure, but I contacted Facebook and they confirmed with me that your category doesn't have any effect on your post performance. Instagram have also rolled out updated analytics as of, this was a while ago now, December 2017, that include much more detailed statistics. You're able to attribute how many profile visits and followers each piece of content awarded you, and even the source of those impressions or views. These updated analytics confirm my theory that engagement comes primarily from existing followers, and hashtags are how we attract new followers. As of early 2019, so this year, Instagram are rolling out more detailed hashtag analytics to provide statistics on individual hashtag performance. I'm really excited for this because you'll be able to gauge how much reach each of those hashtags is getting you. So currently you just see one number under the heading hashtags and it will tell you how much reach you obtained from using those hashtags. But the new analytics that they're testing now are actually going to give you statistics on each individual hashtag. So hashtag VW, for example, gave you this much reach. Hashtag airlift gave you this much reach. I think this will be a great aid in identifying your top performing hashtags and helping you filter and create those hashtag lists. So, you know, we've talked about checking that you're ranking in those hashtags. This will be a secondary method you can use to check that those hashtags are working for you. And you could also cut out any that obviously aren't working for you, that aren't obtaining you any additional reach. So I'm very excited for this to come in. I didn't really put much in the guide about automation. So there are a lot of services out there that offer automation to you. I have experimented with these. I'm not currently using any automation, not even scheduling posts. I'm doing everything manually. And that's just because I've invested too much in my account to risk losing it. So I know there is automation out there. You can automate liking other people's content. You can automate putting comments on other people's content. You can automate your posts. You can automate, there's nothing you can't automate, but I've invested too much in my account to risk losing it. And over the past 6 months or so, 6-12 months, Instagram have done a number of things to crack down on on automation, on bots, on bot followers, that kind of thing. So So I just want to state that yes, there are automation tools out there, but unless you have no value in your account, I probably wouldn't risk using any automation tools. Okay guys, so that takes us to the end of section 9. Section 8 and 9, we actually got through that pretty quickly. I wasn't expecting to smash through it so quick, but they were relatively short sections. I'm actually going to cut it here, I think, because I'm going to do another update this week. So it's Monday today. I'm building an update for you guys already midweek. So Wednesday, Thursday, I should have an update ready. And that's on some new features that Instagram are releasing. So I've just found out about them. I don't know enough about them to share them with you guys yet. So I'm going to do some more research. Wednesday, Thursday, I'll post a short update for you guys on what I find out. Next week, hopefully I'll have an update for you on Anthony's situation, maybe Thorben's too. So if you guys are watching this, please send me a message, give me an update on how you're going. And also we've only got one more video covering off the guide in more detail. So next week's video will be the last one where we cover the guide like I have been. As always, shoot me through any questions you've got. That list is growing, but we got through a lot in the Q&A last week, and I might do those similar style Q&A videos where we smash through a heap of questions every now and then. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying around. Anthony and Thorben, shoot me those updates. If anyone has any questions, shoot them through. I think I'd prefer if you shoot them through on Patreon. If you're a $35 patron or above, shoot me a message on Instagram so I can add you to my close friends. But I'm just getting so many messages on Instagram recently that even people who are flagged, I'm missing them occasionally. So if you send me a message on Patreon, it'll ensure that I don't miss your message and I'll get back to it as soon as I can. When I wake up to like 700 Instagram notifications, but if you message me on Patreon, I'll go through those first and reply to you guys as soon as possible. Thank you guys for being here. See you all next week.